Hello trainers, Professor Palm here, and I welcome all of you back to the spooky season. Also, yesterday was the unluckiest day of the year, as it was Friday the 13th. As you know, anything on Friday the 13th that can give you bad luck might just happen. So I hope that everyone out there had a good Friday the 13th and nothing bad happened to them. I also hope that you didn't run into Jason Vorhees. Ugh, we really do not want to see that guy on that day. Speaking about luck, there's a lot of it that goes on to our journey. Oftentimes, we don't get a lot of good luck on our side, and we oftentimes hit the bad luck. But once in a while, we can get good luck. We can find a really expensive item hiding, we can make some good friends on there, and of course, we can find ourselves a shiny Pokemon, which are all great examples of good luck. After all, no journey is set in stone, and sometimes it's all dependent on luck. And of course, sometimes our journeys have their share of bad luck. Have you ever gotten out of a cave with barely any Pokemon left and a trainer automatically fights you? Have you ever gone against a gym leader that you thought you were prepared for only to be thrashed and beaten? Also, has confusion been the most annoying status thing that happens to you? I gotta say, confusion paralyzed is the scariest thing out there because you have no idea how that's gonna go. But the thing that always gave me the most bad luck were ghost type gym leaders. Fontina especially. She's a great gym leader, but I will say this. Her Mismangius's confusion is the most annoying thing. After all, in Generation 4 games, the confusion ratio was a little bit broken as 8 times out of 10, we would hurt ourselves in confusion, while our opponents hurt themselves 2 times out of 10. That was horrible luck. Like I said before, Golbat and Zubat can bring a lot of confusion to you and make your traveling very difficult as they oftentimes know moves that confuse you, making you hurt yourself. Ghost-type Pokemon can be the exact same, but with a catch. Most Ghost-type Pokemon have very powerful moves, and if you don't have a Normal-type Pokemon on your team, you're in a lot of trouble, as Ghost-type moves not only are powerful, but never miss. However, in my opinion, I think that there are 2 Pokemon out there that embody the idea of bad luck, because not only do bad luck follow them wherever they go, they bring bad luck by just looking at them. And of course, I'm talking about the crows of the sky, Murkrow and Honchkrow. These are the bad luck birds. Murkrow and Honchkrow are all kind of bad news. I guess you could tell because these Pokemon are the evil type. Yes, for those of you out there who may not know, in Japan, Dark type is known as the evil type. That's why it has that kind of evil face whenever it terastallizes. These birds are all sorts of bad news. Oh, and I will say something pretty cool about them. These birds can be very evil that they've been used by a couple of villainous teams. What's so cool about it all is that Murkrow was the one that started the trend. You see, in Gold, Silver, and Crystal, the Team Rocket Executive Ariana, who was given her name in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, used a Murkrow as her ace Pokemon. And what made this battle so interesting was Ariana was the very first Pokemon trainer to use a Dark-type Pokemon. And she started a trend that still goes uninterrupted, as so many villainous team admins, grunts, and even leaders use Dark-type Pokemon. Hard to believe that the first Dark-type Pokemon we ever battled was a Murkrow. Man, Murkrow and Honchkrow bring a lot of bad luck to everyone who sees them. But I guess you could say that they also are a bit of a villainous team. If you really think about it, these Pokemon have everything to be a Pokemon mafia. Look at their hats they have. It definitely looks like this is the big boss when it is known as the big boss Pokemon, and this is the henchman because of its hat. These Pokemon have a really cool sense of fashion, and all of them have different hats, which makes them all very unique Pokemon. While Murkrow and Honchkrow can bring a lot of misfortune, sometimes if you have these Pokemon by your side, you're going to be the one who does not have the misfortune, but rather your opponent will. That's something that's kind of interesting about these Pokemon is sometimes if you train them right, you're the one who's going to have all the good luck while everyone else around you will not. Might as well get yourself your good luck charms because the moment you see these Pokemon, everything's about to fall apart. You know what's really funny the most about Murkrow and Honchkrow? These are the OG villains. If you really think about it, not just because of the dark type, evil type, but what they actually do is something that so many villainous teams and other villains in the world of Pokemon have done. Murkrow and Honchkrow steal shiny objects, they oftentimes pillage, and most of the time, these Pokemon kick others out or even attack others and claim everything for their own. I guess you could say that throughout the entire history, all villains took inspiration from these crows. As a kid, I used to love going in corn mazes, but one thing I really liked most of all was seeing the crows. Even though people said they brought bad luck, I was always fascinated by them. And all these years later, I'm happy to say that Murkrow and Honchkrow are some of my favorite flying type Pokemon. As a bird lover, I welcome all birds to my team, and both these Pokemon have really gotten me out of tough jams. So I would just recommend anyone use them for their team. Why don't we talk all about our bad luck birds and see what they bring to the table with bad luck as well as with their criminal behavior. But before we do that, I want to give a very special thanks and shout out to artist HTTP Koopa for my jersey. Today's jersey is Pierre's jersey. Piers is the leader of Team Yell, and Team Yell specializes in Dark-type Pokemon. Since we're talking about Dark-type Pokemon, as well as some Pokemon that can be a little bit of criminals, as well as we know many villainous teams are, I thought this is the perfect shirt to wear. If you really like these jerseys I wear, you can buy them on Etsy. I have a link to HTTP Koopa's Etsy shop in the description below, so check him out and buy a shirt. He doesn't just do Pokemon shirts, he does other video games, cartoons, and even shirts based on movies. He's a very talented artist, and I'm glad to have him help me out with so many videos. While he may not be sponsored, I still want to say thank you for all you've done, my friend. Well, trainers, I think that we should learn all about these Pokemon, what gives them such beautiful black coats, what makes them such master criminals, and also how bad luck always follows them around and goes onto us. Well, I hope that you have all your good luck charms ready and that you're ready to take a run in the cornfield. So let's talk about the little henchman itself and the little crow, Murkrow. Murkrow the Darkness Pokemon is based on a crow, specifically carrion crows. The crest on its head resembles a pointed hat, and also its hooked nose makes it draw inspiration from a witch. Also, with its tails looking like the bristles of a broom, it kind of gives the resemblance of a witch in flight on a broom. However, with its new evolution, its hat now resembles a henchman's hat. For its habitat, Murkrow lives in the trees in both the forests and the swamps. They also hang out around graveyards, as they like creepy places with a gloomy feeling. Also, Murkrow are nocturnal Pokemon, so they're active the most during the night. Murkrow is feared and loathed by many, as it's believed to bring misfortune and bad luck to anyone who sees it flying during the night. Have you ever heard the expression, get home before the Murkrow fly? Well, because of all the bad luck that happens when people see Murkrow, this has led to this expression. Also, Murkrow fly during the night and they take a wing during the twilight. Have you ever heard the saying, bad things come in small packages? Well, Murkrow is the Pokemon embodiment of that saying, as Murkrow are rather devious Pokemon. It's said that when it's chased, Murkrow lures its chaser into the dark mountain trails, where it gets its foe lost, and eventually, after the foe's guard is down, Murkrow goes in for an attack. Being a nocturnal Pokemon, Murkrow have excellent night vision, as they won't get lost even in the darkest of nights. They also use this night vision to their advantage to stay hidden, especially when they're prey to another Pokemon that's after them. Murkrow also have a thieving nature, as they have an attraction to shiny objects as well as all things that glitter. Anything sparkly will immediately catch Murkrow's eye. There have been many occasions where Murkrow have been stealing watches, rings, and necklaces from trainers because it sees them and swoops in, trying to take them for themselves. Because of their love of shiny things, Murkrow has been known to sneak into the nests of both Gabite and Sableye in search of treasure, and it oftentimes takes their shiny valuables. You could call them dirty birdies, you could call them jewel thieves. I see them as risk takers, because Sableye and Gabite do not take well to anything that steals from their nests. Also, sometimes Murkrow try to peck Sableye's eyes as well as the back jewels, because they want to get anything shiny they can. On many occasions, some jewel thieves have used Murkrow to pull off their jewel stealing heists, but oftentimes Murkrow bring their shiny finds to their boss, Honchkrow, who really loves jewels just as much as them. However, there are some Murkrow who keep their own jewels to themselves, and they start a shiny collection in a very secret spot. In the old days of the Hisui region, Professor Laventon made up a protective incantation for those who had seen Murkrow and had been dealt bad luck. Let's ward off the bad luck with this incantation created by the professor. Workrum, bad luck, don't come. Murkrow are pranksters, as they like to fool others, but they have a dark sense of humor. They act cute and innocent, and when their guard's down, they steal and even make a lot of noise, alerting bigger Pokemon to the victim. All in all, Murkrow don't just bring bad luck, they are bad luck. Murkrow made its debut in the Johto League Champion Series episode, All That Glitters, where a trio of Murkrow approached Ash and his friends. At first they entertained them, then they saw Ash's badges, and being attracted to shiny things, all three of them stole Ash's badges. At first they were enemies, but then they joined forces with Ash's Noctowl against Team Rocket, and eventually the trio returned Ash's badges. In the core series games, Murkrow is the ace of Team Rocket Executive Ariana's team. Murkrow also serves as the second in command of Elite Four member Karen's Dark-type team. In Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Explorers of Time, and Explorers of Darkness, Murkrow along with Shuppet are the members of Team Ebony. Murkrow shares its category name with Sableye, as both Pokemon are known as the Darkness Pokemon. Currently, Murkrow is the lightest Dark-type Pokemon we have to date, as it only weighs 4.6 pounds. Despite being a Generation 2 Pokemon, as well as a brand new typing that was introduced in Generation 2, being Dark, Murkrow was actually only available in the Kanto region when you played Gold, Silver, and Crystal, along with the remakes of Heart Gold and Soul Silver. This was the case also with the Pokemon Houndour. And currently, Murkrow is the only non-ghost type Pokemon that requires the Dusk Stone for it to evolve. Murkrow sure does cause a lot of bad luck. After all, it is based on a witch, and it's oftentimes said that when Murkrow's out, it's the witching hour. But Murkrow doesn't just bring bad luck, it's also just an associate and a little bit of a henchman for the real doer of bad luck. I think it's time we see this henchman become the big boss. So let's evolve our little Murkrow into Honchkrow. Here comes the big boss. Time to follow the boss's orders into battle. Honchkrow, the big boss Pokemon, is based on a crow and a raven. Its bulkier and more powerful appearance resembles that of hooded crows. Also, because of that big black coat it wears, along with that big hat crest, Honchkrow appearance is reminiscent of that of a crime boss. For its habitat, Honchkrow is a scavenger, and it lives within the swamps. Honchkrow also lives within forests. However, they also like being around humans, so some Honchkrow live in towns and others live in cities. Honchkrow, being nocturnal, are most active during the night, and they never fly solo, as it's known to swarm with numerous Murkrow in tow. Since they have fantastic night vision, there's nothing out there that can escape Honchkrow's sight. As Honchkrow's category name suggests, the big boss Pokemon, Honchkrow acts as a big boss, as it forms a group of many Murkrow called a murder. It acts as the leader and makes the murder do all of its bidding. Like its previous evolution, Murkrow, Honchkrow can bring lots of bad luck to those who see it in the night, and if it's spotted, Honchkrow prefer to have no witnesses, so they'll attack to silence anyone who has seen it. Honchkrow also have criminal behavior, as they have an attraction to shiny and glittering objects. So if they see something they really like that glitters, like rings, necklaces, or stones, they'll swoop in and take it, and they will not take no for an answer. Most crows and ravens are known for being very loud and summoning others. Honchkrow is no exception. Honchkrow has a powerful larynx. With just a single cry from a Honchkrow, more than 100 Murkrow cronies will assemble by its side. Because of this, Honchkrow is known as the Summoner of Night. If any of its Murkrow cronies in the murder fail to catch Honchkrow food, fail to bring it any shiny objects, or if Honchkrow feels it's been betrayed, Honchkrow will not forgive the betrayal or failure of any of the Murkrow Groons, so it'll hunt them down and personally punish them for their failure. As you can tell, with that beautiful black coat, Honchkrow are very tidy, especially with their fedora crest. To them, that's something no one can touch except for them. You should be very careful about the fedora crest. You see, if anything is to happen or you do anything to it, not only will Honchkrow attack you, but it's said that bad luck will follow you for the rest of the day. So, whatever you do, be wary of Honchkrow's fedora crest and never touch it, nor even make a feather fall out of place. Because of that beautiful black coat Honchkrow has, it easily blends into the night sky and becomes impossible to find. Sometimes Honchkrow takes on weary travelers and other Pokemon that are unexpected. When they get a hit of Honchkrow's attacks, a lot of them claim it's nothing more than bad luck. While Honchkrow prefer the murder of Murkrow to take down its enemies, Honchkrow is not above getting the job done itself. The only time it dirties its own feathers is in delivering the final blow to finish off its opponents. While the murder of Murkrow go out to do Honchkrow's bidding, Honchkrow oftentimes stays behind grooming itself, as it likes to look its very best. The shinier its black coat is, the more time Honchkrow has groomed itself, and these Pokemon hate getting dirty. Honchkrow made its debut in the Diamond and Pearl Battle Dimension series episode, Aiding the Enemy, where it was under the ownership of Ash's rival Paul. It was revealed his Murkrow had evolved into Honchkrow. It took on Ash's Turtwig, who evolved during the battle into Grottle. Unfortunately, because of the bad matchup, Ash's Grottle lost. In the core series games, Honchkrow is the ace of Team Galactic boss Cyrus's team, but this is before Weavile takes over that role from Honchkrow. Honchkrow is also the second in command on Team Flare boss Lysander's team. In Pokemon Battle Revolution, if you happen to have Honchkrow on the field or your opponent has it and you're waiting, it takes the idea of being a gangster to the extreme, as Honchkrow pretends to shoot guns from its wings. Also, when it faints, Honchkrow tips its hat to its enemy, like it's saying, "Good battle, I tip my hat to you." And even though Honchkrow was introduced in Generation 4, in Platinum, it could not be obtained. The reason why is because Murkrow could not be found anywhere in the wild unless you traded from Diamond or Dark Gold and Soul Silver. While the Dusk Stone may have existed, it was kind of just there, as there were no Pokemon you could catch in the wild that evolved at the time using a Dusk Stone. Almost every Pokemon has a weakness, and Murkrow, being Dark and Flying type, have a few. Whether they're on your side or you're taking them down, the moves that are super effective on both Dark and Flying type Pokemon, like Honchkrow and Murkrow, are Electric type, Rock type, Fairy type, thanks to Generation 6 and Professor Sycamore's research discovering a new typing, and Ice type. Only 4 weaknesses for both Honchkrow and Murkrow, being that they're both Dark and Flying type. Well, I guess that sometimes some Pokemon that bring bad luck can also have bad luck bestowed on them as well. Now, how about we see what makes these Pokemon strong and check out their strengths. Murkrow and Honchkrow, being Dark and Flying, have many strengths when they go into battle. Also, since these Pokemon can be rather pesky and they can also bring bad luck, they can really spell doom to a lot of Pokemon. So, because these Pokemon are Dark and Flying, they learn moves that are super effective on Pokemon that are Bug type, Ghost type, Grass type, Fighting type, and Psychic type. Wow, these guys have 5 strengths over 4 weaknesses. That's pretty good, but also their typing is rather unique because it gives these Pokemon a few immunities when they battle. For the immunities of both Honchkrow and Murkrow, they're immune to moves that are both Psychic type and Ground type. Psychic type because both Murkrow and Honchkrow are Dark type Pokemon. Psychic won't do anything and the darkness blots out the light. And of course, to the Ground type moves, Murkrow and Honchkrow fly. So yeah, nothing on the ground can hit them when they're airborne. I guess you could say, because both these Pokemon have 2 immunities, that brings double bad luck to both of these immunities. No Pokemon is without an ability, as every single Pokemon has one. And for our birds and black cats, Murkrow and Honchkrow, they can have one of 2. If you catch either Murkrow or Honchkrow in the wild, they can either have the ability Insomnia or Super Luck. Murkrow and Honchkrow with the ability Insomnia will never sleep. Being Dark-type Pokemon, they prefer the night and the darkness. Also, they're nocturnal birds, so the idea of sleep never comes to them. Not only because of their dastardly deeds, but also they live by the philosophy, crime never sleeps. And with the other ability of Murkrow and Honchkrow being Super Luck, they can really be competitive, as Super Luck powers up their critical hit ratio, so it's easier for them to land critical hits. Also, since these Pokemon work in a murder, they use Super Luck not only to win battles, but also stay in operation to keep getting away with their little crimes and bad luck. For the hidden abilities that were introduced in Generation 5, Murkrow and Honchkrow differ, as both of them have a different one, which also shows their personality. For Murkrow's hidden ability, it's Prankster, which gives Murkrow's status moves a boost. This also makes Murkrow bring bad luck with all the status moves it does on its opponents, which also proves that Murkrow is a Pokemon that has a bit of a dangerous sense of humor. Honchkrow has the hidden ability Moxie, which gives it an attack boost whenever it takes down an opponent. Being large and in charge, you don't mess with the big boss as it has a lot of power it'll unleash on its opponents just to prove a point. Since Murkrow and Honchkrow are criminals and thieves, they were in the game longer than any villainous team was. No wonder they're dark type. These crows are the OG bad guys, and all the teams took inspiration from everything they've done. Also, if you think about it, since Honchkrow acts as the boss and has a bunch of Murkrow as its henchmen, these were the original villainous team. You know what blows my mind? Murkrow was the first Dark-type Pokemon that we ever took on. When Ariana used it in the Johto games to take us on, she started a trend that still remains unbroken today. With all the villainous teams, they always seem to have Dark-type Pokemon. And I'm happy to say, Honchkrow continued the trend. And seeing that so many other Pokemon out there that are Dark-type are used by villainous teams, it's no wonder why Dark-type in Japan are known as the evil type, because they're always there for an evil criminal organization. You don't want to mess with Murkrow and Honchkrow. They may be Pokemon, but they can do a real number on you. In fact, these Pokemon have such great memories, they'll never forget a face. You do anything to them that hurts them, and they'll come after you. I guess you could say that they're gangsters, because once they have a hit on you, it never goes away. Being a person who's always had a love of hats, seeing the hats that both Murkrow and Honchkrow wear always make these Pokemon a standout, as you rarely see so many Pokemon even have a feature like that. I really do love that their crests also represent a different ranking for them. Some Honchkrow and Murkrow oftentimes change their hats to look different. I gotta say, I like that originally that Murkrow had the witch's hat, but now when it evolves, it has the head honcho's hat, which is a really nice touch. Whether you see them at night, you take them on, or you catch them, one thing's for sure. Someone is about to be unlucky. You better get your good luck charms ready, because the moment Murkrow and Honchkrow come out, your luck is about to change for the worse around the bad luck birds. Welcome back, trainers. I hope that you had a wonderful time learning about our crows in the cornfield. I know that they're bad luck birds, but I think it was really cool to learn about them, as well as maybe getting a little bad luck isn't all that bad. However, before we end, I have a few questions for you. With how many villainous teams use Dark-type Pokemon, who was the first Dark-type Pokemon you ever took on? When Dark-type was first introduced in Generation 2, who do you think was the best Dark-type, and who do you think was the worst Dark-type? Other than Murkrow and Honchkrow, what other Pokemon do you think is well known for bringing bad luck wherever it goes? Since Murkrow existed since Generation 2, do you think that Honchkrow should have existed in Generation 2, or do you think that it was worth the wait coming in Generation 4? Other than Nuzleaf and Murkrow being the only Dark-type Pokemon who evolved with stones to get a Shiftry or a Honchkrow, do you think that there should be more Dark-type Pokemon that require stones to evolve? And out of all the extended evolutions that we got introduced in Generation 4, who do you think was the best designed, and who do you think was the worst designed? Who's your favorite, and who's your least favorite? Well, trainers, I hope that you enjoyed watching this video and that your luck has turned over for the better. And if you liked what you saw, then please leave a like. If you have any questions, you want to answer any of the questions I threw at you, you want an idea of yours turned into a video, you want me to cover another Pokemon line, or you want me to cover something in the Pokemon news, then please comment. And as always, if you liked what you saw and you want to see more, smash that subscribe button. Spooky season is only beginning, and it's about to get even scarier, so I hope that you stick around to see what other spooky surprises await. And thanks for watching, trainers. Palm out!